I don't know how this even made it this far. Like, who trusts Skynet to drive a car? Clap it.
Hey!
When I came
Chop
down,
rice, chop rice, chop rice. There's no meat. Chop rice. There's no meat.
Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Hero. This is Coding with Strangers, and I want to say I told you so. In a world where people are obsessed with controlling everything, this isn't a political show, but we're obsessed with controlling women's bodies. We're obsessed with controlling who you can stick your nasty parts into. We're obsessed with what books kids can read. We're obsessed with every aspect of our life. And to think that there was a world where we would be living in where a person who is someone not being behind the seat of a vehicle would be a reason to panic. And I want you to understand something. People aren't necessarily afraid of autonomous vehicles. They're afraid that if something happens with that autonomous vehicle, there's no one to blame. Because as we quickly found out today, when Mario's little brother decides to take some vengeance out on a corporation because he has back trouble, well, you don't get to blame the corporation. In fact, the corporations can't be found guilty of anything. And as we've learned with the two incidents that happened in San Fran this past year, it's made it abundantly clear that these corporations won't be protected by their autonomous vehicles. It's almost as if their AI driving robots aren't as intelligent as they portray them to be. It's almost as if that I in AI should really mean incompetent. Is incompetent start with I? I don't know. But that's neither here or there. The point I'm trying to drive here is Cruise employees felt blindsided by GM's plan to end Robotaxi program. And I'm just sitting here saying, like,
why are you here?
you didn't see this coming? How did you not see this coming? Let's find out how these Cruise employees didn't check their blind spot. Oh, these are some great puns. Like, share, and subscribe. Don't let a black man fail. It's almost the end of the year. Cruise CEO Marc Whitten, who took the top post in June's posted message Tuesday afternoon in the company announcement channeled, along with a link to a press release entitled GM's Refocus Automation Driving Development on Personal Vehicles. GM, which acquired the self-driving car startup in 2016, would no longer fund the company, ending a mission that hundreds of Cruise engineers had worked on for years. Minutes later, during an all-hands meeting, Cruise employees learned a few more details. The self-driving car company would be absorbed into a parent company, GM, and combined with the automaker's own efforts to develop driver-assisted features and eventually fully automation personal vehicles. Whether their jobs would be safe or cut was still unclear. Now, if there's anything that I don't like about this is that uncertainty about job security. As a person who has recently been fired and recently been rehired, start January 6th, I'm jobless till then. Feel free to support me as you can. This is a very uncomfortable position to be in, especially knowing that you've put almost a decade into developing technology that never really had I guess you could say there was a fictional desire for it. We've seen versions of this in media, and we've seen versions of this in cyberpunk, and it's always been alluded to. But in practice, in reality, in nonfiction, would anybody really trust their lives to this? I remember seeing a few commercials about this and how people were getting into taxi-less, driverless Uber things. And it's just, for me, it was just like, man, you guys are doing anything for clicks. But I never once believed that this was real. And it wasn't because I don't think the vehicles are reliable, even though they quite handily, with the two accidents that happened, prove they're not reliable. But moreover, if there's no one for someone to blame, then this thing will not fly. Like, it's just not going to be possible. If there's no way to hold someone accountable, the public, the company, whoever, we cannot trust it. Furthermore, could you imagine the court cases revolving around this? The laws that would need to be put down? Either we're not ready or the technology isn't good enough. But both currently are true separately, and it's like something we can agree on. It's crazy to see how many things we agree upon as we head towards the end of the year. Several Cruise employees spoke with TechCrunch on the condition of anonymity, said they were surprised and blindsided. Not such a great movie. Sandra Bullock, what were you thinking? By the decision, one source told TechCrunch that the employee learned about the GM plan the same time the media did.
Hey, bro, I think I'm gonna head on in for the night. I'm kind of tired.
No problem. Get some rest.
Hey, didn't you work today?
12-hour shift.
And you went to the gym?
PR to 700 deadlift.
And you still got energy to do all this work? Where does the energy come from, bro?
I'm at my best when I have my zest, baby.
Okay, zest?
The Zest Super Berry Samba Green Tea comes packed with 135 milligrams of caffeine and L-theanine. That's how I stay focused for longer and stronger throughout the day with no crash. It's way better than coffee or any of those sugar-filled energy drinks out there. No GMO, gluten-free, and it won't stain your teeth.
Oh yeah, that sounds real good. Is this one, right?
Yes, sir, that's the one. But my brother in Zest, I'm gonna need you to get your own Super Berry Samba Green Tea.
Selfish.
You mad, bro? Don't worry, I got you. Use my promotional code down below to get 20% off selected items and the subscriptions. That's Coding with Strangers, all one word. Put that in the checkout box and you'll be good to go. Thank you so much to Zest for the sponsorship. Staff were told they should be proud. What are you, Sukuna? Of themselves and that the technology will live on. Nothing there would be a restructuring and that it would take several months for Cruise the transition to GM's team. The executive provided no detail about potential layoffs according to the source. However, several employees told TechCrunch they expect job cuts. Yeah, this is really unfortunate from the aspect of like people losing their job. Cruise has been under pressure to commercialize robotaxis and generate revenue for years, and it at one point hopes ambitions were high. In 2021 GM project, the Cruise would have tens of thousands custom-built origin robotaxis on the road that could generate $50 billion in annual revenue by the end of the decade. The one true problem here was the resistance from the group of people in the demographic. This would have hurt it. This would have not only been another additional blow to the actual taxi industry, this would have also been a blow to Uber and Lyft. And knowing that, well, Uber and Lyft might have bought the technology and used it themselves, but I definitely have to believe that like taxi cab drivers and taxi unions were very much against this and probably put their bids in to make sure that laws weren't passed to grant these access. But we don't even have to worry about the laws taking effect because, like I said in the beginning, the technology doesn't work. Case in point, Cruise finally received in August of 2023 the final permit required by California regulators to operate commercially in San Francisco. 2 months later, the company would come under intense scrutiny following an October 2nd incident that left a pedestrian stuck under the vehicle and then dragged one. But basically, the Robotaxi hit two motherfuckers and drug one of the motherfuckers. God damn. Maybe my dyslexia is in overdrive. All right. The incident and Cruise action in the immediate aftermath led to Cruise losing the permit to operate in California, grounding the entire U.S. fleet. Its co-founder, CEO Kyle Voltage, stepping down, rounds of layoffs, and GM taking more direct control over what was once a promising self-driving company. So this basically, when this incident happened, it basically gave everybody the red light to stop doing this, especially if you can't get regulators to do this. Or the fact that, you know, the car hit two people and drug one and didn't stop, didn't understand it. And we've had situations, minor situations, of like the police car pulling one over and it continues to drive, or it driving through a police accident and, you know, just disregarding anything. Or I think one of my favorite ones is when they blew one up during a protest, and the way they got the car to stop was just simply putting a cone on top of its hood, and that was enough to stop it. In 2022, GM sent a request to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration for a temporary exemption for 6 federal motor vehicle safety standards for the origin that would allow them to operate a vehicle that didn't have steering wheel. The FAST Act, which was signed into law by President Obama in December 2015, allows manufacturers like GM to test and evaluate vehicles that might not otherwise meet federal motor vehicle safety standards. While GM waited on the exemption, it continued developments of the eventual product, that the custom-built Origin Robotaxis, but as Reuters later discovered, the reported GM withdrew the request in October 25th of this year. But GM might have already seen the writing on the wall, but we've known for a long time, and still to this point, till to this day, we don't trust these things. It comes by no standard, but this is a polling. I didn't know JD Power also does polls, but I guess since they give people crowns for like being safety in vehicles and transportation, makes sense. Consumers' confidence when riding in a fully automated self-driving vehicle is 56% points higher amongst those who have ridden in a robotaxi, 76%, than the general population who have had the experience of 20%. So for the people that have done it, they don't, like, a little more than half have found it to be, you know, worth its time and gold. But it's not the people in the vehicle we're worried about. It's the people on the outside of the vehicle. The fact that you don't have a steering wheel almost speaks to your ability to want to touch the sun. You're flying too close. Could you imagine if the vehicle was spinning, its tires were spinning, or if it was trying to drive you off a cliff? I don't think there's any situation where in my lifetime I wouldn't want to. You could have someone to assist you, but I need a driver in that hoe too, right? Definitely need a driver in that hoe too. So this is just a little short article talking about like why these robo-taxis are disappearing, rightfully so. But I'm curious to know, what do you think? Do you feel like these things had a, you know, are we on the precipice or something? Like what would it take? Because you couldn't pay me to get into one of these things. So I'm very much curious to know, like, would you get into a robo-taxi? Are you that crazy? Like, share, subscribe. Let me know. Hey.